Hi everybody, my name is Cheri. Welcome to my stamp studio. So this is the second card that I'm going to do today for you using the Great Tidings bundle. So I'm going to use both the Great Tidings stamp set and the, I guess it's called the Wise Men Tidings Dies. I didn't know what the name of it was. So I'll show you this card. So this one used both, again, the stamps and the dies. So it's a very different card than what I'm going to do today. So this one we used, you can see this beautiful frame here, and this frame and these little dies here could actually be used year-round on lots of different things. So it punched out the frame, and then it punched out these little things, and then the Bethlehem. So the only repeat thing we're going to use today is the Bethlehem, and then we're going to use the star again, and I'm going to put this, the glory to God in the highest, on the inside of today's card. So it's a completely different card, so you could make two different kinds of cards. The card I'm going to do today would also be great for some home decor, as this one would too. Place settings, you could get some different kinds of things that you could do with the stamp bundle. Besides just make Christmas cards, or you could get it this year and make two different kinds of cards, like make it next year. So here's the stamp set. So let's get going on it. This one does take a little bit more time than last year's, but for those of you that like to color, it's right up your alley. So the supplies on this are very minimal. So I'm going to use a sand colored card base. So this one is sand colored. The other one was Moonlight. So it's just a standard half-size card. And then I have 2 sheets of shimmer white. So this is cut 4 by 5 1/4, and this will be the background. And then the other piece of shimmer white that I have is going to be to stamp on and color Wise Men out of. So for this one, if you watched the other video, I did the blending brushes, and I did 4 colors. On this one, I'm just going to do 2. So we're going to create our little desert background here. So I'm going to use Sahara sand for this. Just going to rub this with my blending brush. This is a great way to create backgrounds. And I'm just going to kind of wipe this on here. They're very forgiving. Once you do use these though on your stamp pads, you do need to make sure you get the re-inkers, because obviously it's sucking the ink out of here way more quickly than it does if you just use it as a stamp pad just for inking stamps. So I'm just kind of brushing it on. You don't have to worry about it being you don't want it terribly blotchy, but if you just keep rubbing it, kind of rub some of that out. Let's put some here in the middle. And we're also going to rub this through a folder, which will kind of help hide any imperfections that we might have on there. So I'm kind of making a hill. So just keep going until you kind of have the color that you want. Get here a little bit more here in the middle. And the nice thing is once you put your designs on here, then a lot of that gets hidden. Any place where you think it looks imperfect, but once you give it to somebody, they won't think it at all. And the longer you look at it, they kind of go away as well. So there's our sand, and here's our Misty Moonlight. And the other thing is, I said that you need a re-inker. If you are doing multiples of these cards, like even if you're sending 20, by the time you're done with 20, you would definitely need to re-ink these. So here's our Misty Moonlight. And now we're going to create our sky. It doesn't take very much of this because you don't want it to look like it's midnight. We do want it to look like it's the moonlight. So right here where they kind of meet, I'm going to leave it like that. And then I'm just going to take my sand again, and right here, just blend those in the middle, because you don't want it to have a white line in between the ground and the sky. And so there's our background. And then once we start with our cutting and embossing machine, then I'll run that through the embossing machine. So that's done. And if you were making multiples of these, I would do all of your backgrounds at once. So they're just all done. And it's actually something, if you have grandkids or kids that want to help you, if they're old enough, that it's something that they could help with as well. So here's the other side, but that's probably a little bit more dry. And here's just another piece. Hopefully my hands aren't too dirty, because I did kind of touch the edge of my brushes. I'm going to take Memento, and I have my 3 Wise Men just stuck on one block. Just makes it a little faster for stamping. And because they're stuck like this, I'm just going to take my memento and stamp upside down. It also kind of helps from not getting the ink on the edges where it's not supposed to be. This way it just hits those raised up parts of your stamp. So if you find that you often have ink where it's not supposed to be, try inking your stamps this way. Let's see if I got it all on there. I'm going to press pretty hard. So I'm going to make sure I get all that detail. So there we have those. And then I'm going to take theirs. They have the 3 gifts, but then there's also a stamp that has the 3 gifts. And so I'm going to stamp this right here. Okay, now we've got these stamps. So I'm going to take this and just put a couple of things on this and then go ahead and put my words on the inside. Then that way we'll be done with our stamp pad. So I'm going to take my star, ink it in black, put it right up here in the corner. So we've got that going up there. And then there's words that say, wise men still seek him. Put these right down here. No, it doesn't have to be perfect center, but just towards the bottom. So we have that. And then on the inside of my card, I'm going to put glory to God in the highest. There's several different sayings in this set, so you could pick any of them. I like this font. I like the words. So I just went with that one, but you could pick any. So now let's do, this is the most time consuming of this part of the card, is coloring them in. So if you don't have a lot of time, you can do it quickly. I'm going to do it beautiful. And so then I'm going to take a little bit of it and fast forward it so you don't have to watch it all. So if you don't have a lot of time, I would do blends and do it quickly. You just have to remember that blends smear. So you want to be as careful as possible. I am going to use blends. Look at my hands. Hang on while I wipe that off. I'm going to use this is my dark petal pink. And so one of my guys, I am going to have the petal pink. And this dries a little bit lighter, but the blends do bleed out. And this is very tiny design. So you want to not put more than you need of the ink. So we'll do his skin color that. And then the other two I'm going to do in the, no, I didn't. I guess I did light soft suede. That's not the color I thought I used, but I have moved stuff on my table. Well, we'll go with light soft suede. Maybe that is the color I used. So we'll do their skin in suede. Now, if it bothers you that they are upside down and right side up, you can cut them out first. The other thing is if you have any issues with your things not cutting well when you cut, like if sometimes they cut poorly and you have to recut, then I would most certainly not take the time to color them and then cut them and then have to color them again. So go ahead and cut them first. It's just that they're a little bit easier to to color when they're still attached to a large piece of paper. Now this is the light black, and I'm going to color their beards and their hair. They don't have much hair. They have mostly beards. And just get those. Now I'm going to color the rest of them. I want them to be super shimmery and to be very regal. So I have pulled out lots of regal-ish colors, and I'm going to use my Stella. Now I did not realize until I had live people in my house recently that it's been a minute. I guess I do it sometimes on my retreat videos when we use a Stella. I show you how to use this. I'm going to do a whole very short video on how to use a Stella. So if you think sometimes your Stella doesn't work, especially if I send you new ones or you buy a new one and you're like, my Stella doesn't work, then watch for that video. I should have done it on this one, but my other Stella was completely out and I needed to finish this card. So I am going to do one because all Stellas work. And I'm sorry to tell you, if your Stella isn't working, it is user error. So I'll show you how to, when you get a brand new one, there are instructions in it. I'll tell you that. But I'm going to just pull out a bunch of regal colors of ink, and I'm going to color these in with my Stella. I will just show you a couple of them here, and then I'm going to keep filming, and I will do the fast forward portion of just the coloring over on my Instagram. so that way you can see it all, but you won't have to watch it all on this. Actually, if I stop talking, I can still, maybe I'll see how long it takes. And maybe I will have it here as well. So this is Merlot. I'm just, maybe it's Merlot, maybe it's Cherry Cobbler. No, it's Merlot. So with this, I'm going to do his whole robe in Merlot. Now you can get much more fancy with it than I did. I did at least do whole swaths of color. Like in this one, I do his robe in Merlot. And I'll show you like how I did up at the top where his little head covering is. Okay, now let's do his head covering. So I'm going to take some of the red, and I'm going to do this one dark. And I'm going to skip one that still stays dark. And then I'm going to skip another one that stays dark. So this way you're just using one color. And then we'll go over here and do that one dark. And then I'm going to go like up in his little crown. And then I'll come up here now that it's starting to lighten up. So I'm just using one color, but I'm making the most of what the Stella ink that I have on the one. Come down here and get this part of it. So you can see it's lightening up, which was the same thing I kind of did there. So you've done it once. And then let's do this over here. I didn't use a ton of colors. You can if you want to. Like if you're going to do a home decor piece or make some ornaments, use a ton of colors. Let's get Blackberry. Let's squish this down. And I'll turn him around. You would think I would be able to color upside down. And I'll do the same kind of thing. So on here, you can see Blackberry's really dark. And as you go down, it lightens up. So let's get all of the parts of his robe in the Blackberry, and you can see it just lightens up every time. By the time I've gotten to the bottom, it has that nice shading. And we're going to go up to his headscarf, and we're going to do the same thing. So I'm going to load up as much as I can up here on his scarf, and we'll do one. And I'm going to keep skipping them. That way I can go back in as my paint lightens up. You can see it's getting lighter now. And now that it's lighter, I'm going to go back up here and fill these in, some of the lighter ones. Then I'm going to start over again. And then over here on my packages, my packages ended up, or the packages, the Wiseman gifts. I guess the frankincense, the myrrh, and, oh, what's the other one? The gold, frankincense, and myrrh. They were just pretty light. And I just did one kind of in each color that the Wiseman was carrying. So his will be the blackberry. And then let's go to Shaded Spruce. And on this one, the Shaded Spruce I did as accent colors. So over here, I just kind of, these little is I just kind of filled them in with the shaded spruce. I'm not actually sure that you would even save a lot of time by doing it with the blends, because I have a feeling if you started with the blends that you would be a little bit more fancy. With this, there's not such a huge temptation. And we'll just kind of swoop these down. But because the brush makes it easy to just brush it in, I just filled it in. Whereas if I had the blends tip, I might feel like I needed to color them all in. Let's go over here. Do the same thing with the... So there's never very many colors on any of our magi. But because it's shimmery and because they just kind of lose some of their color as you go, it's plenty of color. And we'll do this one over here. Like I said, I just kind of do these till the color comes off. So that's kind of how you can clean them. And then any place you need to clean, you can just use your scrap paper there. Okay, let's go to our Misty Moonlight. Now I'm going to do the same thing to his head covering that I did over here. So we'll go from light to dark. Okay, let's get the blue cleaned off over here. And let's get some crushed curry. And then all of their they have little jewels on their pieces. And then of course they're all holding their gifts. So on these, I did them all in the curry. We have one final bit over here, which is Gorgeous Grape. And so then that's it for our coloring. So it doesn't take too terribly long. And if I was making multiples of these cards, then I would stamp all of my Wise Men. So I could do all of the grape at one time and all of the Merlot at one time and do all of the colors at one time. So let's put it together. The actual assembly of this card takes very little time. I'm actually going to run this through the embossing folder first, just to give that one more minute to set up. So any of those that are still kind of wet will have time to dry. Now I went back and forth on which folder to use for this, and then when it was all said and done, I chose this is part of the Harvest Meadow. It's in the holiday catalog, and it actually has words, but I liked kind of the speckly effect. So it looks kind of like maybe an old, oh, what's the word? Oh, if you haven't been following my channel, I started taking migraine medicine again, and it makes me lose words like nobody's business. But just like an old, it's not a transcript. You can all help me with the word, even though I can't hear you. An old wrapped up piece of manuscript, but not, I can see it, and I can eat the words right there in the back of my head. But, one of those. Like something that the wise men would be carrying with them. I can have the word back there, but it also then kind of gives the feel of the sand. So, whatever that word is, as soon as I stop filming, the words are always right there. They're like, oh yeah, that's the word I meant. But sometimes I would rather not be suffering from migraines than having words. Sometimes the side effects are too much and I have to just stop. But right now it's weather changes. If those of you that have migraines that are weather induced know that change of season sometimes are a little bit rough. So this is a tiny piece, and you can see how tiny it is. It's the scrap of the other one of gold shimmer vellum, and it's also part of the same suite that the words came from. And then we're gonna lay this on here. Let's do it this way. I'm gonna make sure the wise men will go through. No, I'm gonna do that one separate. The way I have this cut is a little bit large. So let's put our gifts there. Parchment, there's the word. And these roll through fine with one pass. They're just cutting out outsides and just out of a piece of cardstock. So just make sure they don't move, because you don't want anything to move after we spent all that time painting them in. And then I'll put that Bethlehem through, and then I'll fast forward that bit. Okay, I do have a little bit of a tip for when you go to put this one together. So you are going to go ahead and stick this on first, because we want to make use of the hole. Oh, and if you watched the other video, I knew I was going to run out of that. So I have my other one sitting here. You don't really need to use Seal Plus, but I wasn't sure how much was left on the other one. I didn't want to refill it if there was too much left. But you do want to use take advantage of the whole piece of card and not just mount on this piece. So go ahead and mount this on, and then you're going to just add a tiny bit of adhesive to your Bethlehem. And now you'll see what I mean. So I'm going to stick this. So we've got this little piece here, and then put this all the way to the edge of the city. And then you can see now where we've got the little slope of our hill going. And then take one of your wise men. And again, he's going to go all the way to the edge. So put him here. And then grab another one. It doesn't matter which ones. And he's going to go just so he doesn't touch the tip of that, and then almost to the words. So down to the words and just under there. And then take some dimensionals on this one. Oh, come on, they're stuck to my fingers. It just needs two. And these are little ones. If you had big ones, it might just take one in the middle. And then he kind of goes in between. So now it looks like they're kind of going towards Bethlehem, and Bethlehem's in the background. And then just on the inside, Just add your packages. Or, I don't know why I keep calling them packages. Add your treasures. So there we go. So here's my other one. This one, I'm always a little bit more heavy-handed with the ink when I'm doing it so you guys can see it. So a little bit darker ink. They're colored in about the same. I'll take a close-up picture so you can see the coloring and put those over on my website. Oh, I guess I didn't stamp the inside, but you can see the 3 gifts down there. So here it is. It doesn't, I don't know that it takes, I mean, obviously anytime you take that much time to color something in, it's going to take a little bit more time, which we do notice, like when I do in-person events, anytime we take time to color, it takes longer than this, which was just pretty much sponging a background. So 2 totally different looks from one stamp set. So I hope you like that. It would make fabulously beautiful Christmas cards, and I'm sure that there's a million more ideas that you could come up with this bundle. But I still have like 6 sets from the holiday catalog that I haven't even stamped with yet. So I have to get through those before I can do any more with this. I have a wedding card, a welcome house welcoming card. I have some new sets. I still have Eden's Garden that I want to show you one more thing with to remind you that that class is has ongoing registration. So my list is way too long to do one more of these for. So buy it and come up with something fabulous to do on your own. Everybody have a great day. Bye.